So far in this series we've followed the Stanhope Tyne Railway up and across some of the most remote ground in the north of England. We've seen brutal inclines, isolation, abandoned alignments and engineering that pushed the limits of what early railways could achieve. Now the line is approaching the industrial town of Consett, a town that in many ways owes its existence to this railway. But just before the railway could reach it, the engineers and perhaps more importantly the accountants were faced with their biggest obstacle yet, the Hownsgill Valley. Hi there, just behind me there is the Hownsgill Viaduct. A very interesting story on this line. Now when our Stanhope Tyne Railway first opened, they didn't build this viaduct didn't exist. So when they got to here, obviously they've gone over the top, all those inclines and all that engineering to get to this point, and they deemed that they didn't have the funds necessary to bridge this valley. Do you know what they did, Phil? Instead
as a matter of fact, I do, but I do find it astonishing, despite the amount of experience they'd had with inclines reaching this point, so they're all well versed on doing them, they thought that they'd be good enough to be able to put inclines down this gorge, across, then up to the side, which is an extraordinary way of thinking, if you ask me.
It's on another level, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's not just an incline up an hill, but you know, that's what they did. They weren't inclines like we know. They weren't just like you attach the wagons. It was actually looked a little bit of a different setup for these inclines. So there was two inclines, obviously one at either side. One was 1 in 2.5.
So this is getting on to being like, what do you call it? The ones that go up, that the cars are actually stood upright when they go up.
Hold that thought. Because I was just saying, one's 2.5 and one's 1 in 3. The single wagons were carried down sideways in cradles, and they was worked by a single stationary engine.
In the middle, I guess.
Yes.
So this is a bit like the concept of the early canal, when they didn't want the logs to get up gradients. They had these kind of special. They used to send the borders down on some kind of section that went down, so it's going down sideways effectively. Yeah, I can't remember the name for those sort of things.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. So this was two inclines. So you might be thinking, well, where's the viaduct come from? So 1958, when this was being run by the Stockton Darlington Railway. Now Thomas Bouch, he oversaw the design and construction of this viaduct in, did I say the year already? 1858. Yeah. So still quite early. That's still a very old viaduct, isn't it? And it's a lovely white colour. It's from a distance and photographs, it's really, really striking. But just look how high up we are.
What about these ornate bars then? Are these
beautiful, aren't they?
Are they original?
I'm guessing so, yeah.
They have these on the Melbourne Army Railway that crosses the Trent there. They have this kind of ornate bars going across.
It's a little bit of I don't use the word imposition, but it's really, really strange walking over with these barriers on there, because look how ornate these are. Look, the original barriers that are still on there. But there is a reason, there is a sad reason why they've gone to the lengths that they have to put this, let's call it a monstrosity of a set of railings on it, and that's just, sadly, there's just so many people jumping off here, sadly, that they felt the need to go to this measure. Just feels really strange, doesn't it? Like walking through a bird cage. And just some stats on this. So this valley, shall we say, that we're crossing over here, 161 feet deep, 101 feet wide, a dry valley I've got. There's no appear to be any water course down there.
So what do you think in relation to the other big ones we've been across, Lawpool at Whitby? What do you think that one is? Have you been over that one? That's quite high, isn't it?
On the centre track, yeah.
Looks similar.
What do you mean in terms of height? I don't know, this feels a lot higher, to be honest.
Maybe.
This does feel very, very high. How high is it? 150 foot high. I've got here on the notes. 700 feet long, spanned by 12 50-foot wide arches. Phil, have you ever seen a viaduct this colour?
No, I haven't, because on closer inspection it's bricks and the beige colour, so no, I haven't, not like this. I've seen bigger slabs that in beige, but not like this.
I understand that the bricks for this were all quarried from a very local quarry. What an incredible journey this has been. The history, the views and the stories connected with this very under-celebrated railway are truly infectious. I know that stopping here at Consett doesn't quite show the entire line, but this was all we could realistically capture in a single day's filming. We've squeezed every last drop of daylight out of today. Hopefully one day we can return and explore more of the route, maybe even follow it all the way to the Tyne at South Shields. And as we close out this series, I must give a big thanks to Phil for his input, knowledge and enthusiasm. He's even managed to make friends with the local wildlife along the way. Days like this can be hard work with many miles covered, so his company is always appreciated. And of course, thanks to my channel members, channel supporters for backing the channel. I really hope you've enjoyed this series, and if you've been following along, let me know in the comments which section of this railway has been your favourite so far. Don't forget to like, subscribe and leave a comment, and if this kind of railway and industrial history interests you, there's plenty more to explore in the back catalogue. And thanks for watching. We'll see you on another fascinating journey very soon. Ta-ra!